Hello everyone, this is Venkatesh, your host for the podcast Leading Self and Others. Today we have a very interesting guest in our show. She is Miss Isabelita Castilho. Miss Isabelita is a C-suite career transition advisor and public speaker. She is also a published author for the book All the Secrets of Getting a New Job in Dubai. Ms. Isabelita is also an IAPCH certified member, which is for conversational hypnotherapist. She has advised many senior executives across the world successfully, and many public testimonials can also be viewed in her LinkedIn profile page. Originally from Brazil, Ms. Isabelita, having lived in several countries, in Dubai since 2011, Isabelita Castilho enjoys making a positive impact in executives' career and life across the world. Once again, I welcome Isabelita Castilho for this show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Leading Self and Others podcast, a podcast exclusively based on how you can effectively lead your life and the people around you, anywhere, any place. Every week, you'll be provided with some nourishing dose of thought provoking and influential messages. Here is your host, Venkatesh, human resources professional, leadership speaker, and author of 2 acclaimed books, Rise to Lead You and You and Your World.
Welcome, Miss Isabelita.
Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me.
Great. I have been noticing you in the social media platforms that you are someone who are interacting and working with the top guys of the industries, right? You are your major focus work with the top businessmen like CEOs, CXOs, CFOs, kind of. So could you please brief about your work, please?
Absolutely. So what I do, I help executives when they want to change jobs. So basically, I help them with the coaching through how do you present yourself to companies, how do you gain visibility on LinkedIn, how do you improve your brand to be then contacted by headhunters, recruiters, companies that are looking for calibers like themselves. So basically, this is my job to help them get the next job. So it's career transition coaching.
Great. So as you say, career transition coaching, is it applicable only to those top guys or you work with any other persons as well?
At the moment, I focus more on director and above levels. I do work exclusively for a company. So basically, that's what our niche public is. However, the advice is applicable for everybody.
Okay. I can also notice that you have been predominantly working on the terms like skill set called personal branding, right?
Mhm.
So how do you define it? Because personal branding nowadays means to differently to many people. Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you would like to define?
Sure. So, well, personal branding, it's literally how do you represent yourself? How do you actually make sure that when anybody look at your profile or your CV, they understand what's your value proposition. So it's literally about the right projection about your value proposition. So when somebody talks to you for 5 minutes or they look at your LinkedIn profile, which is the first thing they do, they understand exactly what is your value proposition. So personal branding is directly related to being able to translate in a very positive note, in a very appealing note, your value proposition.
Okay. So having heard that the definition, my next question goes through like, regardless of my profession and my environment, why should I better my personal branding?
Absolutely. That's a great question, by the way. Well, there is nothing is static in this world, right? Just like we go through ongoing changes all the time, whether it's in our personal lives, in our careers, or as an example, what's happening in the world, everything is changing and evolving. So there's ongoing changes that needs to be improved. So we need to improve all the time, and we need to always adjust to the external world to still be valuable. So improving the personal branding by understanding who is your niche public, who do you want to be contacted by. So in my case, I deal with executives, so I help them improve their personal branding through LinkedIn profiles, through their CV, or through them actually being able to present well during a job interview. So everything that you do and everything that you talk about, it's reflected on your image. So it's very important to do this ongoing improvement to keep then accompany also the changes. And everybody's looking for improvement for their companies when they hire executives, or they're looking for them to solve a problem. So they need to be on the ongoing changes as well, and looking for improvement all the time. So it's never enough how much we can improve. It's never, let's say, just that's fine for now. So it's literally looking for ongoing improvement, what makes you highlight from the crowd among other, let's put it like this, competitors for the job.
So when it comes to personal branding, do you see any difference of approach with gender differences, like male and female? Do you identify any
No,
differences?
I actually, it's an excellent question, because there's so much those days we hear about inclusion or about diversity or about female leadership. I honestly don't see why gender would actually play any difference in the way that somebody can perform at workplace. So it's literally about, what do you bring into the table, whether it's about experience in function, does not need to be necessarily in the same industry. So function wise and cross markets, being multicultural, that would play a big impact in terms of being able to deal with different companies, different people, different environments. So gender absolutely, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, has absolutely no difference in terms of being qualified or suitable for the company, for the organization.
Okay. Having known that there is no much differences or partiality you see between the two genders, but what is that one minimum basic expectation you would expect from your client or your mentee to have when they come with you with an proposal to counsel them or coach them for their personal branding? What is that one thing? Yeah.
That's the one thing, is literally being open-minded, be willing to change, right?
Great.
And when I say open-minded, is being willing to change, because if one, that's very actually interesting aspect of what you're saying, because some people come with their ideas of how things should be and how things are done. And many times those things were done over and over and then didn't reach that desired result. So I would say in general, if somebody's looking for help or looking for some advice, then be open-minded and be willing to do something they had not done before. So being open-minded and willing to change is actually definitely the key thing that's required for anybody to be successful in any coaching program.
Okay. So you have a home. If you want a good guest to come and visit your home, you have to keep your doors open.
Well, let's say your mind open, and you can call the mind the home, because that's where people go to. You go to their minds, understand how are you doing things, what are you willing to do, what's next for you. So they need to be open-minded, and we can pull it like this. Open-minded could be the open home, if that is the metaphor we use.
Yes, true. Sometimes some people are open to advices, but they do not know which one to pick, the right one, which one to choose it, because we cannot accept all the advices what we receive. We can be open to advices, but we are the one to choose what is best fit for us, right?
Yeah, and that's absolutely right. And that's what happens to a lot of my clients. So we give them the advice, but it's literally up to them to test it out and literally follow a little bit of that gut feeling. What sounds better for me, right? So ideally in the programs that I do with them, I give them the advice of how things are done, but ultimately there is a personal approach and there is a personal touch that needs to be included So in that case, I would say, in the doubt, follow your heart, right? Follow what feels right to you. And this is usually the best way to proceed. But when there is nothing into place and there is no, I have no clue what to do next. So, and then an advice is presented to you, have a go, have a test it out, right? In the worst case scenario is like, okay, go back to what you're doing before, if that was more suitable. But testing something new is the only way to see where, if this can take to somewhere different of where you have been until then, before you looked for advice.
Fantastic. So right now, I'm so curious to know your story of building a personal brand. When was the moment you found it is important, and what are the steps you took to build on it?
Excellent. That's a great question, actually, because there was a time where I was really confident, as I've always been confident, but like literally said, okay, this is time where I want to launch myself as an expert, as a career advisor, somebody who understands about what people should do when they are looking for a job, how they can be successful and stop struggling. And I said, okay, I need to build my personal brand, because it's not just by saying, just trust me, and I'm a nice person, but like, okay, I need to show credibility. So how do I build that? I decided to write a book. So when I wrote my book, which is called All the Secrets of Getting a New Job in Dubai, because I was in Dubai for almost 11 years, I just left like a month and a half ago now. So basically that's when I actually decided to say, okay, I need to show people that are in the same market than me. I do know what I'm talking about, so trust my advice. So that's what I felt. This will build on my personal brand, and that will open doors for me as well in terms of doing some public speaking events, which is ultimately my goal. It's one of the things I love, aside from being a coach, which I love the most, but I still want to do a lot of public speaking events, speak to the crowds. So how do I get that invite? How do I get that credibility? So the book was a way for me to start building my personal brand. Currently, I'm building a personal website as well. So hopefully that will help that out as well.
Great. So when we are following our vision as well as the mission, we are inviting both the opportunities as well as the challenges. So your road is also not going to be smooth and soft, right? So what was that one challenge you would like to tell about that you faced in the past and overcome?
Yes, that's very interesting. Well, I had a huge challenge when I got really excited about writing my book, and then I said, okay, and now how do I publish? What do I do? So identifying publishers, identifying distributors in the market where I was, having the opportunity to get my book in the bookstores, that was very challenging. So I realized that, it's either I keep insisting on that and I get my own doors open, or I would just give up. And I said, give up is never part of my vocabulary. So I kept going and talking to people, trying to identify other people who had already published the jobs in the place where I was, which was Dubai. And then basically say, listen, are you able to have a chat with me? Tell me how you published your book. I know your book is in the bookstores. Would you give me any advice on that? I wrote my book and now I don't know how to get my book in the bookstores, right? So basically start interacting, networking with people, and then things start getting a bit easier. And then I got doors open, and then finally I was able to get books in the bookstores with a lot of basically a lot of research, a lot of reaching out to people that I didn't know, strangers, getting out of the comfort zone and say, I just need some advice, some help. Would you meet with me for a few minutes? And basically then that's how things got much better. I still found a lot of challenges later on, but I would say challenge is, it's a fuel. When you have a goal, when you have a mission, when you know why you're doing things, it's just, a fuel that makes you want to go even further, right? So just to overcome. So this is part of my story, yes.
Absolutely. I can feel that how you would have gone through that. So coming back to your expertise, personal branding and career transition, each and every individual have their own perceptions, right? It is not that each and every individual perception would be same as the other person's. We view the world in a different way, and other person will view the world in a different way. No one view in the same way. Likewise, the same applicable to the perception what they carry about themselves as well. the perception what I have about you will not be the same as what you have about yourself. So
Mhm.
how does my perception of myself shape my personal brand?
Well, I would say immediately it impacts directly. It definitely works together. So I would say the very first thing that even with my clients, for instance, when I tell them for you to be successful in that interview, to be able to be better than the other candidate going for that job, you need to believe in yourself that you're the best. And you need to believe that you're really able to do it. So aside from helping them with what to answer and how to answer, they need to be confident about that they really are suitable for that position. So I would say working on the self-esteem is the very first step to be able to gain recognition from others, because unless the person believes in themselves and they feel they're good enough, they have a high level of self-esteem, then it would be almost impossible for somebody else to look at them and say, whoa, you are fantastic. But because the level of confidence would not be there. So there is always this energy, there's always the way you project yourself that will make somebody else say, I just like this person, or I just trust this person, I really feel they can do it. It's much more of how they project themselves. So in that depends on how do they feel about themselves.
Mhm.
So definitely it's very important, directly related, very, very impactful. So first working on self-esteem before wanting others to give credibility
Mhm,
to
mhm.
to
Yes, sometimes it is easier for us to believe the other person, not our own self, right? It is quite easier. Okay, you can do this, you will be able to do this. But it is hard to tell us and convince ourselves that I will be able to do this and I can do this. Can you cite an example where your client faced that issue of believing themselves, and what is that one interesting thing they have done for themselves to build their confidence and change their perception about themselves? Any one thing?
Yes, sure. That's an excellent question. I wouldn't say I had any clients that didn't believe they couldn't do anything or they couldn't land the job, but I did have clients saying, you know, at the stage of the career where they are, very high level executives saying, I don't know what I want. I was like, let's talk about it. Because how can we get anywhere if we don't know where we want to go, right? So I would say it's much more about helping them identify and start understanding, okay, you know, you've got so many jobs before or so many positions, so many promotions, and you are very successful and you are happy. So now start listing what really makes you trigger, what really makes you feel happy when you are at workplace, or when you're not at workplace, then when you are doing anything in your life. And by them starting to list things that they feel they could do really well. Oh, I think I could do really well by doing this, by doing that, by having this function, being this kind of work environment. I said, here we go. This could be an entire job description. And then after this, what kind of jobs can we go for? What kind of industries can we go for? What kind of locations could we go for that will match everything you have described as this would make me feel happy, or when I have done those things, I was feeling really happy and excited about doing that. Even if me sometimes a hobby. Okay, what is in that hobby? Oh, being very active. Okay, so where can you be so active that you felt you were among people or you were coaching people? So it's very interesting how that helps them start identifying what they really could do and where they really want to go. And then when they don't know exactly one thing, they say, I could do this, that. Okay, so what would be the one you'd like to do a little bit more? And then by them saying, okay, a little bit more than the others would be this, let's start focusing on this. So we work on that branding, then we only project things that are related to that kind of work they want to go for, and basically start promoting that client, helping him promote himself through whatever he posts, whatever he writes, people he connects with, events he participates that are related to that topic, that would open the door for him, that is within his target, because that becomes a target. And I always tell them, it's okay if you want at any point of time change directions. I had target 1, 2, 3. We started with the one that's a little bit stronger interest. Now you feel it not getting much there, no worries. Then they want to try it out, number 2. Let's go for number 2. Then we work it out again, the brand, but at least there is a focus. So basically the answer would be, focus is what makes, give some, let's say, some solutions for when somebody's lost, right? So start identifying what makes you tick, what makes you smile, what makes you feel happy. And then we start going for what kind of jobs match this kind of situations that they have described.
True. Where your focus goes, there your energy goes.
Yes, absolutely.
According to you, what are the 3 important steps to build so anyone can start developing their personal branding?
Beautiful. So I would say the very first thing, be mindful, drop all the pressure. Don't try to run before you can walk. So I would say the very first thing is be mindful. And being mindful means start observing as if I'm another person. Observe self, right? So what are the things that I'm doing? So let's go back to practical examples. So let's say LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very important for all my clients and for everybody who wants to either get a job or do business, right? So LinkedIn is a referral for that. So people who are on LinkedIn, be mindful. What are the things that you do on a daily basis on LinkedIn or on a weekly basis? Do you post anything? Do you share? Do you react to posts? Do you write anything? Do you promote any articles? And if you do, what is it related to? Because whatever you say, and that's the old story, whatever you say can be used against you, or it can be used on your favor as well. So that is a way to start building the branding. So if every time the person will talk about something, that they start being looked as an expert on that subject, right? So being mindful first, other than start putting a lot of plans, being mindful about, okay, what have I done in the last 3 months on LinkedIn? Oh, I commented, I put a like, in what kind of topics? So just understanding, oh, I had no focus. I was going all over the place, and maybe that would not attract that same crowd that he was interested in. The crowd could be headhunters, could be talent acquisition. So, oh, I understand. I should be more commenting, talking, sharing, reacting, or even writing something on LinkedIn, which could be related to my topic of interest, right? And then I can attract that crowd and people wanting to talk to me because they see that I'm always around that same topic, which is related to my industry or to the job that I want to do. So mindful is the first thing, being mindful. Observe first, make a list, get to see as if you were an observer, what have I been doing the last 3 months? The second thing is, as we spoke already, the focus, right? So somebody looking for a job, have focus. So they can do many things. I have a lot of clients that tell me, I can do anything and I can work in any industry. I understand, but let's start with, let's choose top 3. Let's determine top 3 jobs that would be suitable and can match your experience, that we can help you branding you a little bit more. So focus is important, even if it means you don't have a clue, then I again decide for the time being, if you were to have a clue, what would that be? I'm sure then answers start coming. Well, I could do this and this and that. Okay, why don't we start with that, right? And let's explore. So basically working around that. So focus is the second thing, right? And the third thing would be, again, we spoke a little bit about it, ongoing improvement. One thing is people saying, okay, now I have a professional CV done, I have a LinkedIn profile done. Now I have already reached out to several people that have me in their radar. Now I'll just relax. No, there's never a relax mode. There's ongoing improvement. The world is changing, companies are changing, business needs are changing. There's ongoing transformations happening, especially during pandemic times. Business are being reinvented. So not only business are being reinvented, people have to reinvent themselves. So this ongoing reinvention, ongoing upgrading, you get an insight. Let's say you got a LinkedIn profile, fantastic, done. And then suddenly tomorrow you're like, those things that when you are at the gym or in the shower, you get this little light bulb. Oh, I should put that word in my profile. I should write this, or I should change my headline. Just do it, right? So this is their way of ongoing improvement. One day you're happy with your photo on LinkedIn, next day or a few weeks later, you know what, I should do a professional photo. Go and do it. Keep doing this ongoing improvement. So those three things: being mindful, focus, and ongoing improvement, which in Japan, they call it Kaizen, right? And I'm sure you are aware very much about it. So it's this ongoing improvement. It's key, right? So those three things would be the most important things, in my opinion.
Excellent points made. So one last
Thank you.
question. What is that
Yes.
one question you would expect me to ask, and what would be answer for it?
Oh, wow. What would be the one question that I would expect you to ask me? Well, honestly, I have to borrow from the several speakers I saw being interviewed in several podcasts, and I see very recurring the question like, what is the difference that you want to make in the world? I always see that, right? So why do you do what you do? You know, why are you so passionate about it? I guess that would be probably the question. Why do you like so much, public speaking, or why you like so much career advisor, being a career advisor, right? So if that was the question that I would imagine that you would ask me, I would say, I believe in having a mission. And I believe that you have a mission, it's your mission when you're so passionate about it. And I believe that there is never, that's given to you by universe or by God or whoever you believe or others believe, not given by chance. You don't have a passion, or you don't have like a mission just for the sake of having one. There is a purpose, right? So I believe in purpose. So whatever I do, for me, it has a purpose. Of course, for you to do anything well, you must like it. You must love it, actually, so you can do even better, right? And basically, for me, this is my core belief. I believe that my biggest goal to become a public speaker for, let's say, for crowds and talk in TEDx, it's just a recognition of, let's say, credibility and working well in my brand. But mostly because I can reach out to much more people at once, and I can scale the message and hopefully help many more people than just on a one-to-one basis. So coach is something I love. I love my personal interaction with all my clients. We always have almost always stay friends, not just very formal, it's always very informal. And that's very enjoyable as well. But mostly the public speaking is because it can scale the message, not just to one person at a time. So I don't know if I was able to answer.
Yes. In short, I would like to understand that it is about adding value to the people whom you meet.
Absolutely,
Right?
absolutely. Yeah. It's about adding value, and a value with a specific purpose, which comes with the expertise and knowing that how much you can make a difference.
Yeah.
By whatever you talk about when it comes to what you know about. So, but there is never, I would say that there is never 100% know everything. I learn every day with every single person that I talk to. And by being exposed to different clients, I'm able to do better with the next ones that come enjoying me during the program that I help them, because of also my experience with those clients. So it's not just by what I know, but what I learn on a daily basis with everyone. So I love that curve as well. And that's that's where I get most of the joy, by learning from all of those people as well, their experiences.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for your question as well.
Yeah, and thank you so much for joining with me today. And it was a very insightful episode.
Thank you, Venkatesh. I hope I pronounced correctly.
Yeah,
it's been such a joy to be able to speak with you and to be able to present everything we spoke here together. Thank you again.
Last but never the end, buckle up to get inspired and more realistic thoughts from Venkatesh. Make sure to subscribe now, just so you don't miss any episode. If you think this podcast has inspired you and may help someone you care, please share. Leading Self and Others.